Lifetime PGA and Champions Tour member, master instructor and educator who has helped over 300,000 golfers around the world, author and writer Wally Armstrong's 50 years in golf are now distilled down into one main truth, that the golf swing is a circle.
Beautiful!
As you learn to swing the circle from Wally, golf will become fun and simple with immediate results. We know you will enjoy watching Wally bring this truth to life.
Hi, I'm Wally Armstrong. Welcome to Swing the Circle lesson. In this part, you're going to learn about the basics of the swing the circle concept. Then we're going to go into how you can see it, and then we're going to go into how you can feel it, and then we're going into how you swing it, how you really take it out and you make it happen when you're out on the golf course. This is a whole new way of teaching golf because we have some real major problems in golf today, and that's what I'm going to cover in this clinic part starting out. One of them is the major problem is handicaps are not getting lower. If you think of the last 20 years, the average handicap has gone higher. So people aren't getting better, although we have all this information. We have a 24-hour golf channel. We have all these golf magazines. We have everything, available, all the high-tech equipment, and yet people are not getting better. So we have all this information overload. And then when people go out and play, they're all caught up in doing the golf swing. They're swing bound, I call it. And they try to put the swing together, and they're thinking about all these mechanics, and they get all wrapped up, and they can't even hit the ball when they go out and play. I have an accountant friend that when he goes out, he actually takes his notes with him out of his pocket, and he has his secretary type up all of his swing keys from his lessons. So he's got this big long list, Then he gets up there, puts it down on the ground, says, before I want to get started here, I want to go over my swing keys. So then it kind of sounds like this. Let's see, left arm straight, right elbow bent, pressure on the last three fingers of the left hand, press forward, press with the right knee, focus on the back of the ball, and relax. Take it back inside, full shoulder turn, cock the wrist, drive with the knee, elbow back to the pocket, roll the hands, and finish high. I usually fall asleep when I watch this thing. More than likely, when you go out on the golf course, you're instructing yourself how to hit the ball. J.H. Taylor won the British Open a number of times. He said there can't be a natural, free-flowing golf swing when the mind is involved in instructing the body. And when I went over to China, I taught golf there about 20 years ago and had a crowd about this size. And I heard they have a saying over there that it's a ship with many captains will sail up a mountain. So you get the picture? So I told him, I said, how about this little parable? A golfer with many swing thoughts will spend much time in the woods with squirrels. They said, very good. So we can't be, we can't be swing bound. We can't be swing bound at all. And then we can't be ball bound. Something happens, when you see that ball. And typically, when I play in Pro-Ams, I'll always have one guy that has this beautiful swing and he's got a 21 handicap. And he's over there swinging and he looks like Tiger Woods, and I go, this is my ringer. And then I'll say, well, how can you have a 21 handicap with that swing? And he'll say, I don't know, Wally. I take the best practice swing, and then when I go to hit the ball, I just can't do it. And I'll say, well, let me see you hit a shot. And he'll say, watch and tell me what I'm doing wrong. Then he sees the ball. They sneak up on it. And then all the focus goes on that ball, see? And then the ball has a tendency to talk to people. It kind of says, hit me, hit me, hit me. And so there's this thought of kill, rip, beat, cream, see? And that nice circular swing that they should have, it just goes right out the window, and all the focus is in on the ball. And then the ball also has a tendency to hypnotize people. Because I see people get up to the ball, and then there's the bobbers. You see them on every driving range. Then there's the waggers. Then you got the lookers. Then you got dancers. The guys dance around. They're trying to get their alignment, And then you got the grippers, the Sergios. But the worst kind are the freezers. so that's ball bound, see? You don't have a plan when you go up to play the shot. You're thinking too much of hitting the ball. And then there's another thing that wraps people up, and that's focusing on the target too much. Now, the target should be focused on when you're planning your shot. Certainly, it's a target game. But if all your focus is on something out there, that target is going to speak to you in the middle of your swing, because you'll get up there. Typically, a slicer is looking at the hole, and he's thinking, I got to hit it at the hole, I've got to hit it at the hole, and the hole's going, hit me, Wally, hit me. Then he turns his back to the hole, and he's saying, hit me, and the natural response always when someone's behind you yelling at you is, what? And so that's why slicers, they come right, over the top. Now, that's probably the worst mistake that the average amateur makes, is they get target oriented, they get ball oriented, and they don't make their circle. And then the last thing is people get problem bound. How many times do you get up on a hole and there's out of bounds to the right, and what's the first thing you think about? Don't go out of bounds, right? And then you go, well, I better get a club so I don't go out of bounds. Then you go to your bag and you get a club. Now what's happening in your mind is your mind can't differentiate between a negative and a positive. It just sees you going out of bounds. See, it has that picture. Then you get up to the ball and you look over there one more time. Don't go out of bounds. Then you swing and then boom, right out of bounds. Then you go, oh, I knew it. Because your body will respond to what the mind sees. And so if you can take these bounded things out of your mind and you can replace it with a picture and a feeling of a circle, then it's going to change the way golf is played. And that's what this is all about, and the rest of this clinic's about. And you're going to love it. So stick with me. Now let's talk about golf. What are the main objectives in golf? I mean, what do you really want to have? What do you want to have when you play golf? Number one is you've got to have speed. I mean, everybody wants distance, but when you come into this ball, you've got to generate speed, see? Because you want to get that distance out there. And then you also want to be able to develop centerness of contact. I mean, when that club head comes into the back of the ball, that it's square and solid to the face. Because if you come it in at different angles, you're going to hit deflections. And you're going to get slices, and you're going to get hooks, and the ball's not going to go anywhere. And the last thing is you got to have direction. You want to be able to play that ball to the target. You want to be able to trust, and you're going to hear this a lot, trust in the circle to get the ball where it goes. And that's, all three of those are best accomplished by swinging in a circle. Because when you learn this concept of swinging the club around your body in a circle, all the way back and all the way through, and basically what happens is the ball just gets in the way of the circle, and it goes long, and it's hit solid, and it goes straight. And that's what this is all about. Now, when you think about it, I've done a lot of studying. I have a library of old books. I have about maybe 200 old books by the classics, the old ones. And when you think about the old teachers, Seymour Dunn, John Duncan Dunn, Percy Boomer, you think of Ernest Jones, you think of Bill Strasbaugh, all the great teachers of the game, they all saw that the club swings in a circle, even modern day golfers. Now we all know Johnny Miller, who's a Hall of Fame golfer. He said that swinging the club in a circle was the best tip that I ever had. So that's the answer. And it's a picture that you can follow, and it's something that is not going to interrupt your swing, because it's simple to see, isn't it? Everybody can see a circle. So when we get into teaching the circle, the key is that you have to swing the club centrifugally. And that's what we're going to teach you. How do we swing and use centrifugal force? And then in this swing the circle concept, there's not going to be any mechanics. You're not going to get wrapped up like that guy in, like my accountant, and trying to put all these parts together, because you're going to have a picture and you're going to have a feeling and you're going to see it and you're going to feel it, and then you're just going to swing the club. And also the great thing about this concept is it's one continuous motion. When you get up to the ball, it's one motion. It's all the way back and all the way through. And there's no stopping or hesitation at all. Ben Hogan knew that, because he said that he visualized the swing as one continuous motion from the start all the way to the top and all the way to the finish. And one of the drills I really like is called start from the finish. And we simply put the club in front of the ball. We start from the finish, go all the way around, come all the way through, and all the way back to the finish. And you can see that that was a full circle, wasn't it? No hesitation, no putting the parts together. And the greatest thing about this concept is this concept of swinging the circle works for all the clubs. It's simply a thinking of swinging the circle. So the goal of swing the circle, when you go out on the golf course, first of all, you want to have fun, right? You can't be boring. And then you also want to have what? It's got to be simple, and that's what Swing the Circle is all about. And then lastly, you want to get better right away. And that's what Swing the Circle is going to do. It's going to give you immediate results. And so the key is, the rest of this clinic is going to talk about seeing the circle, seeing it, seeing that power. How do you get it? Well, you swing in a circle, and then after you see it, then you're going to feel it. And that's where our great little training tool comes in, because now, look, I'm feeling it. Boy, does that feel good. And then once you feel it, then when you go out on the golf course, you see it, you feel it, and then you swing it. And that's what Swing the Circle is all about. I hope you've got a good concept of the circular swing around your body. Now we're going to get into seeing it, because you have to have a good picture. There's a saying that if the mind can't conceive it, the body cannot achieve it, right? If you can't understand something and if you can't see it, then you're just not going to ever be able to produce it with your body. And that's why it's so important that you see the circle, because that's what you're really going to trust when you go into feeling it and then to swinging it. Now let's just talk about, this is a precisioned instrument. You know, it's a club, but you know, clubs are made to beat things. This has a specific design, and a design in a certain way. If you can see that in all your full swing clubs, the shaft comes where? Into the back of the head, right? No, none of your full swing clubs does the shaft go into the top of the head, right? For putters, why does it come in the top of the head for putters? Because you want a pendulum swing, right? You're not talking about power. You're not talking about really speed, so you want more accuracy. But all of your full swing clubs, the shaft comes in the back. Now, the reason for that is that when this shaft goes around your body in a circular manner, the face should rotate around the shaft. That's why the weight's out here, see? If the shaft was in the top, then it would just do this, see? But you want the rotation. And this is what people don't understand, is that as I go back, see, that face should open. See it go into the sky? And as I come through, what happens to it? It starts closing. See, it revolves around the shaft. So this is what the golf swing should look like. See, that's a circle. That's a perfect circle. Up here and around, and the face rotates. Now, one way I can really show you clearly what happens with that is the use of my goalie hockey stick. You're really going to see it here, because if I swing back now, watch what happens to that surface, see? And then as I swing through, what does it do? See, it turns over and it goes like this. So if I take that circle and I keep going slowly and I bring it down lower, see, now I haven't changed the circle at all, have I? But the face has just rotated around the shaft, and that's why it's designed that way. So basically what we're talking about, we want you to see, is that the golf club swings in a circle. It's designed that way, and if I use my hula hoop, I'm going to really show you what that circle looks like. So I'll take my club, and now I'm going to put it underneath the hoop, and if I swing my hands around under the hoop, if my hands go in a circle, what happens to the club head? It follows, doesn't it? So this is basically, the design of the club is to match the circular swing around your body. And now what I'm simply going to do is take this circle and I'm going to tilt it down so that it goes lower and lower and lower. And now you can see, if I just take my swing and go around the circle and through, Perfect circle with the club head. Where'd the ball go? It went straight. So the whole concept of swinging the circle is the better you can swing in a circle, the straighter the ball's going to go. So you have to really think differently, don't you? So what we're talking about is creating a circle with the club head. And this is one of the little practice drills I like, is just to take a swing up high, feel the circle, put it down, and then just swing the circle. So don't even think about it. And that's what you should be doing when you're out playing. The body rotates and it orbits right around in a perfect circle, strikes the ball, and the ball runs into the hole. Now, hopefully. Now let's talk about centrifugal force, because that's the big element that people miss in the golf swing. So if I take the ball, we start it down here and I swing it slowly, where does it go? It's below the top, right? So the faster I start swinging it, where will the ball go? It will go up, yeah, it'll go up to find a 90-degree angle. In other words, it'll start, the faster I turn the inner core, the more the ball is going to go up like this, see? Will it ever go there? Okay, so what does that have to do with your golf circle? A lot, right? Because you're swinging the golf club, and like Bobby Jones says that he used to think about the golf club head as like a weight on the end of a wire. Once you start that club head swinging, it's just going to go. And it's going to always try to find a center post. It's going to try to find a center post that it can go out 90 degrees on. And so that's why it's so important that you do get the right posture and stance, and we're going to get into that. But the main thing is to see that centrifugal force always works up and to a 90 degree, and the golf swing is just that. So when we start up here and we make a perfect circle, and then I tilt down a little lower and a little lower, keep my back nice and straight, bring the ball lower and lower, and now I have a perfect swing, one that is going back circular and all the way around perfectly circular. So that's what we want you to see. That's the picture that you should have in your mind when you play your golf shots. Now in the golf swing, see, there should never be any up and down, right? It's just circular around. And here's what happens. If I've got my swing going in a nice circular pattern, what happens if I throw any kind of up and down linear motion into this? Watch. See? Where is the energy going? It's going straight down into the ground, isn't it? So the energy needs to come around in a circle and come in to go square into the back of the ball. And this is what happens. People look down at the ball. As soon as they bend forward, your equilibrium from your ear, you look down on something, what's the natural tendency to do? Is to come up, see? And then as soon as you bring this up like this, see, now you lose your circular energy. So when you're swinging the circle, it's just a rotation. Your body matches the design of the club and also the centrifugal force of the club head swinging. So there shouldn't be any up and down motion in your golf swing. If you have that, then you're not swinging on circle and you're not going to swing the club the way it's designed to swing. And also there shouldn't be any backwards and forwards motion. See, that's linear also, isn't it? If I take my little club and I get down over the ball, now see, I can swing linear if I just bend forward like this. And now my circle is on line with the target, and then I just swing back through, and you can see I can hit it nice and straight. Hit a couple more here at that white flag out there. So I'm going to swing back on a line, through on a line, back on a line, through on a line, back on a line. Well, look at that. Now, are those straight? But I may never stand up again. So there shouldn't be any backwards and forwards motion. And people get tricked because they see this face and they know that it's got to be square at the bottom to make the ball go, instinctively to make the ball go straight. So what tendency happens with people is they go back on the line, they keep that face pointing at the line as long as they can, so you can really see it here, and then the wrists go like this. Almost every beginning golfer will get in this position because from here all I have to do is just throw it back down and it's square. And so you don't want this linear motion either. It's simply this circular motion around and through. The club face merely rotates around the shaft. It's almost like in sports, you have the hammer thrower and the shot putter. My wife and I had a chance to go to the Olympics in China. We showed up, first thing track and field, and it was the ladies shot put championship. and they'd get inside that circle and they'd put the shot put, use your imagination. They'd go around and then they would push it forward, and the world record's like something like 80 feet, 84 feet. But the hammer thrower is in the same circle, the same 16-pound ball, but what do? Centrifugal force, see, around, 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 and then they let it go. And how much farther do you think it goes? 4 times farther, because they've used centrifugal force and they've circled it out there. So that's the same thing in golf. You're not going to get power, you're not going to get accuracy, it's not going to go straight if you're trying to make it happen, if you're backwards and forwards and up and down. So you have to train yourself to think of a circle. Think circle and see it. Now there's a lot of power in that. Let's just imagine that we have a helicopter here. This is the helicopter blade, okay? Little baby helicopter. And we put a club head on the end of each blade, okay? And then we start this helicopter up with that club head on each end, right? This thing is going big time, fast. And then we tilt it down lower and lower and lower. And then one of the club heads runs into the ball. Where's it gonna go? Straight and right over that mountain, right? So see, at no point in time did this blade go backwards and forwards, right? Or up and down, see? And so that's the same thing with your golf swing. When you swing, see that club should go around and around. No up and down or backwards and forwards. So I hope that's given you a really good picture, because you can see it now. But let me give you a little bit more of a picture. I'm going to go up here to show you a little what centrifugal force can do for power. I'm going to take another little club. I'm going to get down on my knees. I'm going to make just a simple little circular swing through the ball, around and through. And you can see I can hit it out there about 200 yards. So where did the power come from? My legs? This long shaft? It came from just a little bit of motion that I could make with a circular swing. So this is the kind of power that's available when you can swing circular and make your circle go back, around and through. Now let's lengthen it out a little bit now. And now I'm going to swing the same force, very easy. Now that one disappeared in the clouds. About 240. Now what kind of a chance would I have of meeting the ball that square and hitting it that far and that straight if I took the club back and I started by lifting? See what's going to happen? As soon as I get this club weight going up, then it's going to pull my wrists and they're going to start going sideways. It's going to be really hard for me to get back on this circular pattern to come right into the back of the ball. So that's why people lose their power. They lift starting out. And then what if I go back on a line? What if I start back this way? See then, see where the club head's going? So that's why you can really see that if I just keep it circular, I got a lot better chance of returning that club face square to the hole with power and circular power right into the back of the ball. So it really doesn't matter, you know, where the balls are. Once I find my axis, in other words, my spine, that is the key thing. You get that spine set, you get the club shaft 90 degrees out there, see, from your spine, and you twist it around and through. It doesn't matter where the ball is. Even up here, it's way above my hands. That's like really long. Or up here, dead straight again. Or up here, dead straight again. They're all about 20 feet apart. Or even the hardest shot in golf, and that's when the ball is up above your waist with the tee shot. Very difficult shot, but watch where this one goes. There we go again. So see, it's all finding that center post. It's taking the club, winding up, circling it back, unwinding and circling it through, and you keep your spine as the axis, see? That's the axis of that circular power. Now, I have a club designed that will really illustrate that. How you like this one? So what have I done? I've basically stuck the shaft into the back of the head. Now people always say, well, I'm a baseball player, I should be a horrible golfer. Well, no, you should be the best golfer, because see, what I'm going to show you shortly is that a baseball player should be the best golfer. If I just go back and through and hit this ball, where does it go? Dead straight, and a mile. So work with me now. See, if I go circular, and then I bend down, I keep my spine nice and solid, and then I come down. Now that's not practical anymore, is it? Why? Because there's not enough meat to strike the ball, right? That's why you have the bend in the shaft. It all goes back to the design of the club, right? And the clubs today, good night, look at that face. That's why when you swing circular and the club face rotates around the shaft with these big heads, you can hit it a mile. I'll hit one for you here. I love this drill to just set up, take your swing, put it down, and knock it right out of the range. No up and down, no backwards and forwards. Now a baseball swing is probably the closest thing to golf. I was just kind of showing you hitting the ball up high. And so really a baseball player, when he sets up and swings, that's what he's doing. He is setting up to the ball. Basically, they just make a circle through the ball. Now wouldn't it be great if you could hit a tee-ball? You know, you hit home runs every shot. But now a golf swing is just a baseball swing on a tilt. I'm going to demonstrate that to you. In baseball, they have a big advantage over a golfer because a baseball player can keep his feet flat on the ground. What do they do with their shoulders? They preset them, right? What do they do with their wrists? They preset them 90 degrees, right? Right? So they're already here. Their feet are flat on the ground, their hips are turned, their shoulders back, their hands are set. So all they have to do is swing through and knock it out for a home run. Now the only time when a baseball player goes linear is when? When does a baseball player go linear? When he does what? Bunts. Right? And the problem is, see, you have all these golfers. We have a whole generation of golfers, and they swing the club back, you know, and then they come around the ball and they try to push it straight, see? They take that push into the circle, and then it destroys all their power. So we have a whole generation of bunters. Bunters. So in essence, I'll give you one more picture because this is what this section is all about. It's about seeing it, right? Seeing it. So I've designed I call it my bat club. You can see what I've done is I've stuck a shaft in the end of a bat. And then, so this is what you should see. You should see in baseball, see, I'm making my circle up here. And then all I do is I just bring that circle down lower and lower and lower, and now I have a golf shot. That's why I like that little practice exercise. Up high, down low, let it go. And that's the way that I teach junior golfers how to play the game. In fact, my own son, Blake, when I taught him how to play golf, he was having a hard time hitting the ball. He would pick it up and chop, and I'm going, oh boy, this is crazy. I got to learn how to teach him better. So I said, who's your favorite baseball player? And he said, Sammy Sosa. And I said, well, how does he set up? He set up like this, you know, and got in his stance. I said, go ahead, play your shot now. Boom, he hit it a mile. I thought, well, that's it, see? So that's how I teach juniors. I teach them to get up, set up to the ball. I teach them to get in their favorite baseball position and then send the ball out there, and they can do it. So baseball is really a great way to see it. Now what we're ultimately looking for is a continuous flow of motion around your body that comes around, strikes the ball, and then sends it out to the hole. So this is going to be the picture that I want you to always have. It's the ultimate picture that you should have when you're trying to see in your mind what the golf swing is all about. Is we simply make our circle, we bring it down in front, now we go back and through, and you can see now that I'm generating a lot of club head speed, and then I can pop it. And I think you can see the power that you can get by making a circular, powerful swing around this fixed axis, your spine. And that's what the circle is all about. Now we're getting into feeling it. Now you've seen the concept of swinging the circle, and then we've talked about seeing it. You could really see that the golf swing is a continuous motion around, away from the ball, through the ball, and all the way to the finish. It's one continuous motion. But within that circle, there are two power sources. I mean, the body has two major power sources, and when you blend those two together, then you get maximum power and maximum force into the back of the ball, and also maximum accuracy. So I want to talk about the two power sources in your body. And these are the great, most important things that you can learn today. One is the wrists. See, when you can set your wrists in a 90-degree setting motion, that's a huge, powerful position. To free the wrists up so that they can set, load up the power, and then also rotate, you need to have the club placed in your hands correctly. Now you can see on my glove here, I've drawn a red line, and right up here on your palm, on both of your palms, there's a little muscle right there. It's called the palmaris brevis, and it works like a sixth finger, so that when you grab anything, it will kind of hold on and lock in to something. If somebody's pulling it away, you'll grab it underneath that. Now what happens with golfers is they more than likely learn golf with the club head on the ground. They bend over and then they wrap their hands around the club. Well, when you bend this way and you put your hands on something, the club will go right up into the palm, and what will happen is the shaft will come right up over the top of that sixth finger, and now you can't make your wrist set. It's just not going to be able to set, see, when it's up there. So it has to be down in the fingers, and this pad up here has to be on top of the shaft. You want to lock it down in there, and when you do that, that allows those wrists to set, and also allows the wrist to rotate when you're going around in a circle. And then when you do swing, you should be able to have that nice setting motion on the backswing and on the forward swing. Now let's just take a hammer and show you what I mean. See, the wrists aren't made to do this way, see? The most powerful motion you can make is this motion. Up and down, a cracking motion, see? That's power. It's kind of a lot like driving a stake, you know, into a tent, or splitting a rail. See, when I can get in this position and come this way, see, those wrists are really going to supply a lot of force down into that peg. And in golf, it doesn't seem like, well, what do you mean? How do I get that motion into a circle? Well, that's what we're going to teach you. And that's why that blending of those two power sources really makes sense. A good way to show that is with the hockey stick again. You see, as you go back and you get into this position, the toes should be up and then the wrist set. That's that power position. So as you swing circular, they set. You can see the toes up, the toes to the hole. Then as I come through, the hands rotate and they'll come back up over here. See, they reset. And so when you can reset your hands at that 90-degree angle, coming back and coming through, then you get your maximum power. You get the wrist setting, you get that power into it, and then that's when you can really crack the ball. That's why the pros have really got that power when they come down into the ball, because they hold that angle and bang, they really crack it. I have another little tool to show you. Very interesting one. You can see this little training tool that I've created. When you set it up correctly, it makes a noise. Okay, I do it on the side. Can't hear it, right? So I make my swing back, and typical problem people have. Typical problem people have. You do it right. Perfect. See? Then I go through. If I want to hook it, or I slice it, but it should be there. See? Both sides, the wrist set, and as they set, they rotate, and then you have that power source that we really can bring into the ball. And now we're going to talk about how do we add in this to that setting of the wrist. Now the other power source is the body power source. That's when you can make a motion like this with your shoulders and your hips around your spine. Tremendous power. That's where the boxers get their tremendous leverage, see? It's not throwing their arm out. It's when they can come in this way and just turn this way, see? That's where that power source comes. The best illustration I can show you is with a discus thrower. Talk about rotary power. twisting back, the hips, the shoulders go back, right? Then there's an unwinding, and then the discus is released in a circle, in an arc, see? And that's the same move we want to have in golf. We want to be able to twist the body and let it come up and set into this powerful position, and then we unleash it back, and then we get that continuous motion around and through. How do we blend those together with this now? That's the key. Now, the CB ball, what I like to call this is when you swing this ball, this is really going to be your security blanket because this is going to give you the real feeling that you need, that you can trust when you go out on the golf course. And when you work with this ball, it will blend those two parts perfectly when you use it. And then you use it over and over again, and what they call that is you're practicing remembered feelings when you go out on the golf course. So, and then you also have this picture, see, of the tapes swinging. So you want to have the picture in your mind, and then you want to have that remembered feeling of when you worked with the ball, and then when you get up to play your shot, it all blends together and it's automatic because you've practiced the feelings and you've got the picture in your mind. So with the ball, when we swing this, it perfectly blends those together. Now look, see, as it touches me under my arm on both sides, what are my wrists doing? They're setting. They're resetting. What's the ball doing when it's flowing? It's circling. So this is how you really use it. You start up here, bend forward, and then if you want to do it, you want to come up on your toe a little bit here. That will get that shoulder back a little better, you know, because that's really key, is to get that twisting of the shoulders in that position. And then as you come through the ball, you just circle out a little bit to the right of your target. That's where the release, that's what they call releasing the club. It's taking that set position, releasing the energy, and you make it go out a little bit to the right of your target. Now if you're a left-hander, you're going to go a little bit to the left of your target. And the pros call that swinging inside out. It's a term that's really misused, that people don't understand, because they think, well, I know that's out, this is in, and what happens is they go in, and then they try to swing out, but they go over the top. So we're talking about a beautiful blending of these two motions, and if you swing out a little bit that way, you can see that as you come through, the hands come through, they go out, and they come right up over your forward shoulder into this pose position. I watch the pros all do this. See, that goes like that. See? It's not this motion like that. Now that second power source I showed you is like the discus. It's that winding up of the shoulders and the hips, getting coil, keeping those feet flat on the ground so that you can really supply a base for the circling of the club. That's what it's all about. And that circle motion is that as you start your backswing, you want to start the shoulders coiling around your spine, the right hip and the shoulder coming back, and that coiling motion really sets up that swing so that you can load those wrists, see? And the key is, a lot of people, when they get down to the ball, they'll bring the club up, see? And then as soon as that shoulder goes up, they lose all that circular coil and all of that power, this type of emotion. I see that all the time when I'm teaching golfers. So we really want this rotational motion of the shoulders and the hips, and the feet stay nice and flat on the ground, so there's no up and down motion in the swing. It's all rotary. And there's really a wonderful way to show that, and it's with a drill that comes from a teacher in the early 1900s called John Duncan Dunn. And what he did is, and you might even want to try this at home, you want to try it at home when you get home, but get in front of a mirror and you stand with your feet just shoulder width apart, bend forward just a little bit, let your arms hang, and then what you do is you just look behind you, straight behind you, like this, and then when you look this way, you can see what's happened to my shoulders and my hips. See, my shoulders have turned back 90 degrees, my hips have come about 45, and then from this position, just look down at the ball, and then what I like to have people do is just simply bring your hands up in this position where you would in golf, and boy, you can really feel that incredible power position. Most people have never felt this position in order to come back into the ball. And you'll see this on the tour You just watch them on Sunday. Every one of those great players, they have that shoulder back at that 90 degrees, all the way back, and they've got this position. See, now they can uncoil. You can uncoil, because the body needs to start going back, coiling, and you uncoil on the way through, because the body works a lot slower than the hands. So you have to give a little lead, starting with this twist and this twist, and then as the hands set and go through, you can just hear it cracking. And that's what we want you to feel. We want you to feel that cracking motion as you come around and through. One more exercise, and this is from John Duncan Dunn's older brother, Seymour Dunn. And this is a great exercise to show you the blending of the two components. So what you do is you take your stance and you bring the club up on your shoulder. Now, what's happened to my wrist? 90 degree set, perfect, right? Now what I do is I rotate my hips and my shoulder back and then simply raise it up. See, that's perfect position in it. Here, raise it up. Now as I come through, it comes around and then it comes right back on this shoulder. So you can really see that this is a great little drill to practice, to feel the position. Now from here, you're really in a great position to make that circle and just crack it. We have really covered a lot of ground, haven't we? I've given you the feelings, I've given you how to see it and how to gain those feelings. We've got the CB ball that we're going to feel them. We're going to be able to practice with that. And then we've got that feeling that we can then go out on the course, but then when we go out, then we need to swing the circle. Swinging the circle is where it all happens, and that's where you really enjoy playing the game, because when you go out, you have a plan to play with when you go out on the course, or even when you're practicing, see? So that's what you're going to always practice. And you want to be able to see it, and you want to be able to feel it, and then you want to be able to swing it. So let's just say if we're going in to play our shot now, we're going to always take our practice swing, and that's when, as we practice before we play any shot, we always want to practice. And what we're doing when we do this is we're kind of feeling the circle. And then we're also, as we practice, we're almost visualizing and kind of feeling the ball touch us, see, on both sides. We're going to try to regain that feeling. So as you come into the ball, the first thing you need to do is, of course, you got to aim your circle. You got to aim the circle because you are target oriented. And what I like to do is kind of feel like my left shoulder is my aiming thing, see? I like to feel like there's a sight on that shoulder. So when I come into the ball, I'm going to kind of look over that shoulder. That's my sight. That's how I look at how it gets sighted up. So we got our circle aimed. Now as we set into our athletic stance, we want to take a little waggle. And what that is that's just a little mini circle down here with your wrists. See how the club's making a little circle? It's going past the ball, because this is what you want to feel as you come into the ball. We're going to crack that club through in a circle. We're going to swing the circle, and that's the feeling you have. So a little waggle is just kind of the igniter to get that feeling, so you don't start from a static position. And after you do that little waggle, then you set the club, and then we start our backswing by the twisting of the shoulders, the coiling. It's like there's a giant car spring in your body here. We wind it up, then we do the load, which is what we've learned from our CB ball, because we've practiced that, and you know what that feels like, so you're going to trust that as you circle back. Then we're going to unwind, uncoil, and that's when we crack our circle through and out a little bit to the right, boom, through the ball, and then right up here over your forward shoulder. Just like this. Aim, set, waggle, coil, and that's how you tie it all together. Powerful wind up, swing the circle. You don't even have to think about it, because it just happens because you've practiced it, you've seen it, you've felt it, and you've swung it when you go out and play. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed being out here. You're going to go out and work on these exercises and play a lot better golf by swinging the circle. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
I hope you like the clinic part of Swing the Circle, but there are basic fundamentals that need to go into bringing that circle together so that it's really effective. I like to think of it as a chain. You know, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and your circle making is only going to be as strong as the weakest part, you know, of your circular swing motion. And there are certain parts of it that we're going to cover, and these are just basically the fundamentals. So what I want to cover is your grip, how you put your hands on the club, and we showed how that's very important, how you aim, how you set up your posture, how you make that waggle. Then we're going to go through a little bit of the backswing, a couple little exercises you can do, how you set your hands and you get your body moving through the swing, and then lastly, how we circle out to the right and produce that nice circular flow into the ball so the ball can just take off and go right towards the target. So let's start with the grip. The purpose of good hand placement on the club is, one, so that the wrist can set at a 90-degree angle, and two, so that as you swing, they can set and rotate through, bringing the circle through the ball and sending the ball to the hole. One of the things that I showed on the clinic part is how important it is to get your sixth finger, or this little muscle up here at the top of the pad, or they call it the ham of the hand, that we get that on top of the grip and not so that it's on the side of the grip. Now what I suggest you do is whenever you're taking your grip and you're putting your hands on the club, don't take it with your hands up like this where the club head's down on the ground, because that's going to get that club up in the palms too much. You always want to bring the club into your hands. So in other words, stand up straight and hold it in your right hand, and then bring the club, the grip, into your palms so that you can grip it in the fingers and that you can get that sixth finger on top. What you want to feel like is you're clamping down on it. And also you want to have your hands fairly balanced. If you were to just take a club like this and hold your hands to your side, you can see that my thumbs hang inwardly. I don't have them like this. You don't walk like this. So you want your hands to naturally hang in like this, and then as you bring them together, you get it under the pad, bring them in so that the hands come together and you're more like this on top rather than this way. And so they should be pretty balanced. And a pretty good rule of thumb is that the little V here on both of these hands should come approximately towards your right shin. So when you do it correctly, you'll feel it in your fingers, you'll feel it locked down under that pad, it'll be in a position, and you should be able to just take it up and set it on your shoulder like this very easily with no tension. Another good way to practice it if you're at home is just to go sit down in a chair and put your elbows up on a table and put your hands into it. And then you'll really feel how that sits right into the hands. Now your right hand, the thumb and forefinger kind of work like a trigger on a gun. So if you're going to pull a trigger, you've got this little trigger finger like this, so that basically fits like this on the club. You don't want it around in the back of your hand like this, but it just fits down just like this. And that helps you to support the club. When you come to the top, it'll be able to support it right in that little V there to give it good support at the top of your swing. That's why the placement of the hands is so important. Developing a good circle is very important, but you also, when you go out and play or you practice, you have to have it aimed. And so aim is very important. So the picture you want to have is, when I talked about swinging in a circle underneath the hula hoop like this, well, we get that going pretty good, but then we have to tilt that down, and then we have to aim the circle, and you can see I'm aiming the hula hoop right towards my target out there, the white flag and the telephone pole. So then when I make my swing in my circular path around and through, as the club comes through, on its circular path, it's going to send the ball right out towards the hole. So getting this picture in your mind of setting the circle and aiming the club is very critical to playing good shots. Also, as I shared with you on the clinic part, you want to think about your left shoulder as really being the sight, because your shoulders are really the rudder of the swing. Where they start is generally where the club is going to return. That's where your circle is going to come back. So think about having a little sight on the tip of your forward shoulder, and then when you come in and you set the face, you aim, set that shoulder up nice and high, look over it like you're looking out the sight, then take your athletic stance, and now you're in that perfect position to take your waggle and wind up and play that shot right to the pin. The purpose of good posture is to support the circle, and also it helps to initiate that backswing and that forward swing. So, you know, as we swung the circle around our body using the CB ball, remember we need to keep that spine up nice and straight so that as you bend down, the spine stays straight so that your circle can whirl around and get as close as possible with the shaft coming straight up towards your spine. Remember, the ball would go below, and the faster we swung, the more it would go to a 90-degree angle. So part of that posture is to keep that spine angle up so that you can whirl the club around and have it come in with maximum force to the back of the ball. The problem most people have is when they bend over, the natural way to bend over towards the golf ball, I'm going to use this long pipe to show you, is the natural way is to bend over like this towards the ball. Now that feels comfortable, but what happened to my back angle? I totally lost it. So what you have to do is when you bend forward, you have to kind of sit down and counter it by sticking the back of your lap out. And now you can see that my back angle is nice and straight, and I'm at a point where I can just whirl that club around. So this is the position that you want to have, and one way that you can feel it would be like a weightlifter stance. In other words, if you were to bend over, you wouldn't bend this way to pick up a heavy weight. You'd want to sit down this way and get your back up nice and straight, come down and pick it up, and you'd be in this kind of an athletic position where you're absorbing the tension in your thighs and not so much on your back. And when you do that, you can produce that nice circular swing all the way back and all the way through. So that posture keeps you nice and steady and supports you. So just like the discus player, the discus thrower, he comes around this way and he keeps his spine nice and straight. It's the same way in golf. One other picture would be that of a football quarterback. You know, when the quarterback comes in to take the center, he's got his chin up, his back's up nice and straight. He's sitting down, he takes the handoff in this position, then he brings it back and he hands it off. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next motion, is how to do that waggle and then how to ignite that backswing by twisting our body and letting the club just flow. So get that posture right. Work with these drills. Think about the weightlifter's drill. Think about the quarterback, chin up, back nice and straight, cushioning all the tension in your thighs, and now you're in a position to make that good circular swing all the way back and all the way through. If you watched any baseball, you see this all the time, don't you? The batters are kind of doing this motion like this. They're really feeling the swing when it comes through the ball. They're kind of igniting to get ready for that pitch to come. Well, that's just what a waggle is in golf. You know, you don't want to start from a frozen position, which is very common, I see. So when you get up to the ball, you want to set up to the ball, always get your aim, get your posture, and then what we're talking about is doing a little waggle. This is be a big circular motion. See how that club is circling? But we're going to do just a little one out here over the top of the ball. And what this is doing is it's loosening up those wrists. It's giving your arms that nice feeling, and also your body is kind of moving along with it. So you want to just kind of relax, and you're doing a little circle over the top of the ball. And what that's going to do is relax you to when you do put it down, now you're ready to go, and that's when you start making that nice coil motion away from the ball. So practice the waggle, because it's really going to be that thing that ignites that circular swing. We're talking about blending the circular power of the body with the setting of the wrists. And it's so important that you continue to work on that setting of the wrists by getting the correct position of your grip in that left hand with the 6th finger on top, because that gives you the setting motion, the 90-degree set, and also enables that club to rotate in the circle as you come around and through the ball. So on the setting motion, when you come around, I'm going to use the sledgehammer again. Remember, we talked about how this is the power motion. But if you can imagine swinging a heavy weight like this coming back, you know, if my hands go to the side, and it's going to be really hard for me to support that. This is the same thing that happens with a golf club, with the weight of the club, if you don't get it set under here, or if you go up this way, see? So the key is, as you twist, the hands set under, and it's just like you're supporting this weight up to the top, and now you're in a position to make that nice circular initiation with the hips. The hands come around, and then they reset on this side where you balance that weight up over your hands on this side. The broom is an excellent way for you to feel that. And I suggest that you just go get a used one, get an old one, paint it a couple colors. And then what we did with this broom again was you set up, twist, and then here's where you go to green, and you look and you see green, that's where your hand should be. Then as you come through, we change the colors, that's where the rotation comes, and also the releasing of the hands and the resetting of the hands. So you can see as I do this, there's tremendous power. My wrists are setting and resetting, and that circular power is coming right around through the ball to really send it out there with a lot of force and a lot of power. The backswing really starts when we can get in that posture position, and then we can coil going back. See, what that is that's just a winding up of the shoulder and the right hip, and it's just a winding up, a coiling motion where we twist, and we just let the club come along and stay real quiet. One of the ways you can do this is just kind of put a club up in your belly button and hold down on it like this, and then just twist back with your shoulders and your hips. It's a great little practice exercise, see? So when you get into this position, then you're coiled, your feet are flat on the ground, it's like a flat-footed twist, see, of your lower body. That's what you should feel like. You're screwing yourself down into the ground. There's no lifting and shifting, but there's just a twisting motion. And as you get into this position, then we're going to talk about how that club begins to set. The circle gets set and loaded, adding in that extra power source. But this power source is this motion, just like this, taking that weightlifter stance, and then we simply twist back. Now, remember the clinic part where we talked about the John Duncan Dunn drill? Go back and watch that. That's just where you stand in front of a mirror, look behind you, keep your shoulders there, look down at the ball, and then simply put your hands up, and now you're going to feel that coiling motion. You're going to feel how you're planted into the ground. You're going to feel how you're ready to go, and now you can just set those wrists and crank it down and just send that ball out with that nice full circle all the way through the ball. So that's what the backswing's about. This is another good way to practice crossing your chest, twisting back, twisting through. You want to feel that core. You want to feel the axis of your spine. Everything revolves around it. That sets you up to be able to get that power source into the swing and into that swing circle. I hope that you can see how all those links of the chain kind of work together. How that grip, when you put your hands on there correctly, when you get aimed, you get your posture, all that's doing is that setting that circle up. It's all to support the swinging of the club in a circle so that you can be a great circle maker. Now the forward swing, of course, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where we've got to go through that ball, send that circle into the ball, and then send it out to the hole. And so the feeling is that you want to bring that club in, around, and then you want to swing out just a little bit to the right of your target. Why? Because your shoulders are moving in a circle and your hands are coming around, and you want to be able to send that ball out really powerfully out towards the target. It works a lot like the soccer kicker, you know, that's kicking the football for field goals. You know, he's exercising his lever here, and then when he comes in, he holds that angle till the last minute, swings his leg in an arc, and you know what they always do? They always kick towards the right goal post and hook it through. Well, that's just exactly the feeling you want to have when you come into a golf ball. You're coming into the ball and you want to swing out a little bit out to the right, and then that lets the face come in and circle all the way around into this finished position. So it's a lot like that field goal kicker. Or it may be a little bit like a pitcher that's throwing a curveball at a right-handed batter. See, he throws the ball at the batter, but he lets his wrist come around and the ball comes right in and hooks right over the plate. This is what it means to have an inside-out swing in golf. It's coiling the body, it's uncoiling, and then you simply swing the circle out to the right, let it contact the ball, and you always want to finish out and up over your forward shoulder. Another way that you can practice this is by just simply taking a plate or a frisbee. It's a great way to feel that transition. Hold it down, get in your posture, hold it out in front of you like this, rotate back, coil, and then when you're right here, now when you come forward, you want to rotate this way, see? Just like this. There's a nice little in motion, out, and then up through the ball, right up over your left shoulder. Lastly, good way to practice this is simply take a club, hold it over your head, with just your wrist make a circle. Then bring it down in front of you and make a circle. Real relaxed, elbows in against your body. Then bring it back behind you and make the circle go out to the right. See how I'm doing this? Now basically what that is, that's a huge waggle that we made down originally in here, see? But now we're making it this way. And when you do this circle to the right, you'll really feel how your hands come in here and crack the circle through the ball. And that's where the power comes in the golf swing. When you can finish that circle all the way through the ball, bringing your hands all the way on up, right over your forward shoulder. So that ends this section about the fundamentals. You can work with these fundamentals. The key is we now have to integrate those in to working with your CB ball, and that's what we're going to get into next. Your CB ball ties all the fundamentals together. All of those links in your game, they need to be strong and they need to tie together to be a good circle maker. So when you use your CB ball, that's what it's going to do. It defragments your swing. It takes all those parts out and makes it one continuous motion, and that's what you should feel. So take your time with the ball. Don't swing it really fast. Be sure that you adjust it correctly. And always start with the ball out in front of you like this, very much like a baseball swing. And what you're going to do is you're going to initiate it by taking your right shoulder and your right hip back, just twisting them back, very much like that John Duncan Dunn drill, see? It has to go back 90 degrees. And then as you come forward, you have to always come forward and face this way with your shoulders at a 90 degrees, because the ball's not going to work if you don't have that nice circular motion with your shoulders. And then just let it flow. So starting back, twisting, coming around and twisting. Now you see it, it's just touching me right below my shoulders, right at the top of my upper arms. Also, what I like to do with this is kind of pick my toe up a little bit on each side. You'll see how my toe's coming up. What's that doing is it's just helping me to get the shoulders back 90 degrees to have that nice twisting motion. And then what you simply do is then you bow down lower and lower to where you're making your golf swing. And of course you'll feel that posture. If you don't have that good posture, then the ball's not going to finish in the right position on both sides. Another good drill to do with this is to do it just one-handed. Just to start out with one hand, just twist the shoulder back and twist it through. And this is where you're going to really feel how that ball swings all the way around and all the way around, and then do it with the left hand. Just let your body flow. Let the knees flow where it goes, because you want to feel that continuous swinging motion. And I can guarantee you, if the ball is hitting you right below your shoulder on both sides, that you're getting the circular motion. You're developing that circular swing, and your wrists are setting correctly, and it's building that feel in there that you want to have so that you can trust it when you go out onto the golf course. A couple things to think about when you're swinging and you're working out with the ball. Number one is you're going to find that if you have a real firm grip, the ball's not going to react very well. So you want to keep a light grip, keep your arms nice and loose when you go back and you swing, and you'll see it will function very, very well. The other thing, if you don't make a good 90-degree shoulder turn going back, you're going to shortchange yourself and the ball's going to hit you in the lower back. That's a good sign that you need to work on these practice exercises like the John Duncan Done. Also, if you don't finish all the way around, if you stop, it's going to hit you in the lower back on the forward swing. That's going to give you the feeling that you should go ahead and work on this forward swing, turning all the way through as you come through the ball. Also, when you're swinging it, if you don't swing out to the right and up, you come around, the ball will have a tendency to come around, wrap around your neck. So you always want to have this CB ball swinging a little bit out to the right when you come through. Out to the right and then under, see? Just like we did that practice exercise. Like this, out to the right and up. Out to the right and up. And you're going to develop those feelings that you can really take and trust. So if I want to make it a little longer, now what I'm going to do is unscrew the cap. And then I'm just going to pull it out a little bit, nice and easily, to make it a little bit longer. And then I just simply screw it back on and I'm ready to go. If I want to make it shorter, then I have to pinch it a little bit, twist it and turn it, and you can see how it feeds right back in. Then I simply screw the cap on and I'm ready to go. This is the tool that's going to train you to be a wonderful circle maker. So you can go out on the golf course and have that continuous swinging motion, seeing that circle, feeling that circle, and then swinging it. And you're going to become a great circle maker. Thanks for coming out here this morning. We've got another great day. And what we're going to talk about in this section is how do you take these feelings that we've practiced, how do you take that circle and take it out on the golf course and play? Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? We've got to be able to transition from the range, build the feelings, and then take them out on the golf course so that it becomes automatic and we're just swinging the circle back and we're swinging it through and we're enjoying the game the way that it was meant to be played. Why do we start on the practice tee if we're talking about playing on the course? Well, you have to learn to practice how you play and play how you practice. So what I'm saying is there really shouldn't be any difference between standing up here and getting ready and playing a practice shot to when you're going out on the golf course and you're on a real difficult hole. You've got to feel like you're on the practice range when you're on the course. And so we're going to teach you how to develop those feelings, and that is going to be found in developing a routine. We didn't really talk about this yesterday. We were talking about the clinic where I talked about the whys underneath the do's. And then we talked about the fundamentals, and that was how to use the CB ball and how to work on some parts of working with the CB ball, how to work on that done drill, you know, where you pull your shoulder back, you know, and then how that releases that ball to go back and through in a nice circle. And so when you're on the range, if you're going to practice those, if you're going to work on one of those fundamentals, then you always want to then tie it in with the routine that we're going to teach you today so that it becomes not something that you think about when you go out on the golf course. Now the pros understand this. Of course, I played in 340 PGA Tour tournaments and I had a routine. All the pros on the tour have a routine. That's their security blanket. That takes all that interference that we talked about, all those things that bind you up. Remember, the ball, the swing, the target, all that interference out there, the water, the hazards, the trees, the wind. And it keeps you in this little conditioned incubator, you know, your routine gives you the confidence too that when you go out on the course it's going to be automatic. So we're going to talk about now, what is the core feelings? What's the very basis of what we're talking about? How do you take the feelings from the CB ball? How do you bring them into your golf swing? And then how do you send the ball out to the hole? Now, when you're working on these, there's a very interesting research element to practicing, and that's that the last thing that you see with your eyes when you're moving up to any kind of motor activity, or you feel with your hands or your body, you will take that feeling and you will retain that for about 6 to 8 seconds. And so what we're going to do is develop a routine so that you practice it on the tee here. When you go on the course, you're going to do your little routine, and then within 7 seconds, 8 seconds, you move in and you play your shot. And then your body will instinctively respond back and try to replicate those feelings and the things that you've seen in your mind's eye. So that's one of the key things to practicing. And then also you can see that I've set up a little teaching station. Now the reason you do this, and all the pros do it, the pros use these snow poles, you know, and they'll lay them down. You'll see them in their bags. But what we've done is we've taken a club and we've laid it down so that you can see that it's aimed a little bit to the left of the target. And the reason we do that is because you always want to start from a station where you kind of know the direction of the target so that you set in, and as we go through our routine, we set the shoulder and the face, we know where that target is so that we can make our circle through the ball and send it out to the hole. Jeff, come up and let's show them how to do that routine. Tee up some balls on those tees. I'm going to take the CB ball because I'm going to show you how to build this routine. And I'm going to take you through the routine. Now this is the core one. This is where you really learn how to transfer those feelings. And this is the real meat of all the instruction. So first of all, we're going to take our CB ball, stand over to the side. There you go, back up just a little bit. There you go. Now we're going to make a nice circular swing up high like a baseball bat. All the way around. Come on, let's get those shoulders really loose. And keep those arms, those elbows in right in front. This is a real oily type feeling. And now you want to bend down a little lower, a little lower. Now you're into your golf swing. And what you're doing here is you're really feeling the swing. You're feeling the circle. You know it's right because the ball's touching you right below your shoulders on both sides. And we're going to keep those feelings now so that we can transfer them to the swinging of the club. Okay, now let's take the club. And let's go through the same sequence. Let's start with an up-high baseball swing. Really loose, loosen those elbows. You may even want to touch the shoulders a little bit. Yeah, that's it. Really relax it because you want that oily feeling. It's all going to happen. Now you may want to even close your eyes when you do this because that's going to help you to get more in touch with the feelings as you do that. We're trying to build those remembered feelings. In our mind's eye, have that picture of the circle. Okay, now that you've finished that, now you want to go ahead and take those feelings and set up to your ball. The club's lining you up with your left shoulder in the face. Now do your little waggle, your waggle right over the top of the ball, all the way past, a little bigger waggle. Come on, relax those wrists because this is where you're really feeling the circle. This is the last thing that you're going to feel and see with your eyes. Now put it down behind the ball, and now let's circle the club back and circle through. And wow, you really cranked that one. That was awesome. That was awesome. And that's how you really practice. Now, you know, you want to practice this over and over again. You can't do this enough. So take your time because this practice is really going to build those feelings into your swing so that you can trust them when you go out on the golf course. Now on the course, Jeff, we can't take the CB ball with us. So the club has to be our CB ball. That's where we get those remembered feelings going. So we're going to take that out. We're going to set up to the side of the ball like this. Now as you look out there, you want to feel the circle. You want to almost see the pink streamer swinging that ball out there. Now you want to take a swing up high in your baseball swing, just a couple, real relaxed, oily feeling. Now down low. Okay, now you've got the feelings as if you're swinging the CB ball. Now you want to set your shoulder, set the face to your target. Do your waggle now, nice loosey waggle. Big waggle past the ball, perfect. Now put her down there and circle back and circle through. Boy, what a great shot. And this is the routine now that you're going to use when you go out on the course. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. We've practiced how we're going to play, and we're going to play how we've practiced. And that's the whole deal about developing a routine. It's the thing that's going to really make your game work when you go out on the golf course. Well, we're finally out on the tee, and this is where we're going to take those feelings that we've practiced on the range, and we're really going to put them into action. Those remembered feelings, that picture, that see it, feel it, and swing it is going to come alive out here. Now, when you look out to the fairway, your routine that you've practiced is going to dispel all of that interference. Most people are going to look right at the water. They're going to look right at the traps. They're going to say, don't go there, and then their focus is never going to be on where they want it to go. But what we're going to do with our routine is we're going to observe where we want the ball to go. Just conceptualize the shot going out there. And then as we come into the ball, we want to see it. We want to see that streamer. We want to just feel it in our brain, in our mind's eye, just to see that beautiful full circle sending the ball out there. And then as we set up, now we're going to go into the feel it. We're going to start up high as if we're swinging the CB ball. Feel it. The club is the CB ball. It's perfect. Bring it down low, oily, relaxed, feeling it. Now we have 7 seconds to get it over. We set the shoulder, the face. We're doing our waggle. This is the igniter for the swing it. And then we put it down, and we circle back, and we circle through, and we nail it right down the middle. That's how we tie them together. That's how you take that routine. That's how you take those remembered feelings. That's how you take that picture and you bring it out onto the golf course. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, look at how gorgeous this hole is. Now, because you've got your good routine, it's going to take all that trouble out of the picture right there, see? And also up to the right, the bunkers. That's what the routine's all about. Seeing it, feeling it, swinging it. Plan your shot, take that broad, big picture, bring it down to where you want the ball to go, conceptualize it, come into the ball, and now you're going to kind of imagine that streamer going, to circle it up there. We're going to put the club down. We're going to bring it up and take our baseball swing. We're feeling the CB ball as if the club is the ball. Couple swings. We've got the remembered feeling. We're going to set the shoulder, the face, the waggle, and now we just simply swing the circle back and through. And put it right up by the hole, about 20 feet. I'm going to do my routine now with my putter. Clean the ball up a little bit. I've got my stripe ball. I'm going to aim that stripe just on the left edge of the cup. Go through my routine, grip. I'm going to see it. I'm going to take my practice swing. I'm going to feel it. And then I'm going to trust it as I go right through to the hole. See it, feel it, swing it.